Willard Carroll Smith Jr. was born on September 25, 1968, in West Philadelphia, Pennsylvania place, where survival often mattered more than dreams. His childhood home wasn't filled with Hollywood fantasies, but with a tense mix of discipline and fear. His father, Willard Smith Sr., was a refrigeration engineer with a violent temper. His mother, Carolyn Bright, worked for the school board and believed deeply in the power of education and emotional strength. From this dynamic, Will learned crucial lessons early on. Fear can control a room, and humor can disarm it. As a child, Will wasn't the loudest kid, nor the strongest, but he was incredibly observant. He watched adults with a careful eye, learning exactly when to speak and when to smile. When his father's temper flared, Will would try to diffuse the situation with jokes and charm. This habit, making people laugh to avoid conflict, became his emotional armor. Long before he was famous, comedy was simply a survival mechanism. School, however, came easily to him. Will was intelligent, articulate, and sharp, and his teachers noticed it immediately. His confidence and smooth way of talking earned him the nickname Prince, a name that would stick with him for years. But beneath that confident exterior lived a deep-seated insecurity. Will was terrified of disappointing people. He feared losing their approval, and that fear would later drive him far harder than ambition ever could. Music entered his life as an escape. In his early teens, Will discovered hip-hop and fell in love with its rhythm and its power for storytelling. But unlike many rappers of the time, he made a conscious choice to focus on clever wordplay instead of violence or profanity. He wanted to entertain, not intimidate. He teamed up with his childhood friend, DJ Jazzy Jeff, and became the Fresh Prince. Together, they created a style that felt fun, clean, and completely different. At first, the music industry didn't take them seriously, but audiences did. Songs like Parents Just Don't Understand and Summertime connected with people instantly. Their music was relatable, playful, and smart. In 1989, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince won the first ever Grammy Award for Best Rap Performance. Will Smith was barely 20 years old and he was already a star. But success came much faster than wisdom. Will earned millions of dollars but had absolutely no understanding of how to manage money. He spent recklessly, trusted all the wrong people, and completely ignored his financial responsibilities. By the early 1990s, the IRS seized nearly everything he owned. His immense wealth vanished almost overnight. The fame was still there, but the security was gone. The moment terrified him, but it also saved him. Because right when he needed a second chance most, television came knocking. In 1990, Will moved to Los Angeles and landed the starring role in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The show mirrored his real life more than most people realized. It was about a street-smart kid navigating unfamiliar territory, trying to prove his own worth. Will brought his natural charm, his humor, and a surprising vulnerability to the role. And America absolutely fell in love with him. The show became a cultural phenomenon. But Will wasn't satisfied. He didn't want to be remembered just as a sitcom star. He wanted more. He wanted movies. He wanted a legacy. He wanted to be the biggest movie star in the world. Hollywood laughed at him. Studio executives told him that black actors didn't have global appeal. They told him that box office success had its limits. They told him to be realistic. Will did the exact opposite. He studied patterns. He analyzed genres. He learned which types of films traveled internationally and figured out why. He treated Hollywood like a business strategy, not some whimsical dream factory. And when his TV contract finally ended, he took the biggest risk of his life. That risk was a movie called Bad Boys. It wasn't supposed to work. It had a low budget, 2 relatively unknown leads, and no guarantees of success. But it exploded at the box office. Then came Independence Day, which shattered box office records all over the world. Then Men in Black, hit after hit after hit. Will Smith became unstoppable. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, he was the most bankable star in Hollywood. His name alone guaranteed global success. Studios trusted him. Audiences adored him. He was charming, funny, confident, and on the surface, he seemed flawless. But that perfection was just a performance. In 1997, Will married actress Jada Pinkett Smith. Together, They formed one of Hollywood's most talked about and powerful couples. They built a family, welcomed their children, and projected an image of unbreakable strength and unity. But behind closed doors, cracks were beginning to form. Will admitted later that he tried to control happiness not just his own, but everyone else's. He believed that love meant fixing everything, and that belief completely exhausted him. He poured himself into his career, constantly chasing validation through achievement. Movies like Ali showcased his incredible dedication. He transformed himself physically and emotionally for the role, earning critical acclaim and his first Oscar nomination. The pursuit of happiness revealed a deep vulnerability in heart, solidifying his status as a serious dramatic actor. Still, that Academy Award remained just out of reach, and each loss stung more than he ever let on. Meanwhile, his marriage struggled under the immense pressure of public scrutiny and unspoken expectations. Will later revealed that he lost himself trying to meet all these impossible standards. At once husband, father, superstar, role model. Then came the moment that changed everything. The 2022 Academy Awards. On live television, in front of the entire world, Will Smith walked onto the stage and struck comedian Chris Rock. In a matter of seconds, decades of goodwill evaporated. The world watched in disbelief. Social media erupted. Hollywood froze. Will won the Oscar for Best Actor that same night, but it didn't matter. The perfect image was shattered. He resigned from the Academy. Projects were paused or cancelled. His name became synonymous with controversy. For the first time in his life, Will Smith could not charm his way out of the consequences. Went quiet, and in that silence, he was forced to face himself. Will began to speak openly about his childhood trauma, his unresolved anger, and the emotional immaturity that had followed him his whole life. He admitted that he had spent his life seeking approval from others, instead of finding stability within himself. He said, without excuses, not a PR apology, but a human one. That reckoning hurt, but it also freed him. Will Smith returned not as the untouchable icon of the past, but as a flawed man actively choosing to grow. His role in the film Emancipation reflected that Shifted was quiet, restrained, and heavy with meaning. He stopped chasing dominance and started chasing honesty. Today, Will Smith stands in a different place. He's not perfect. He's not finished, but he is aware. His life isn't a straight line upward. It's a cycle of rising, falling, reflecting, and rebuilding. From a fearful child in West Philadelphia to a global superstar. From unimaginable wealth to bankruptcy. From idealized love to public strain. From universal admiration to intense criticism. Will Smith's story teaches one uncomfortable truth. Success doesn't heal you. Fame doesn't fix you. Only self-awareness does. And it leaves us with a real question. If someone who achieved everything still had to break completely just to understand himself, are we all running from? If you stayed with me till the end, do this for me now. Like this video if you believe that real growth always begins with honesty. Subscribe for more real-life stories from behind the Hollywood curtain, and comment below. Do you believe people deserve a second chance after taking responsibility? Because the next story we share, it just might be the one that changes how you see success forever.